The winning blueprint presents.
In the lab room.
Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. It's Thursday, which means it's football day in the National Football League. Thursday night football to commence tonight. The Oakland Raiders will be hosting the Denver Broncos. Not going to sit here and try and convince you that this is compelling football. It's not. If you got something planned, by all means, go ahead and have fun. If you've got a date, want to hang out with your boys, you want to have a nice outing with the wife, girlfriend, fiance, whoever, whatever you got planned, it trumps this game. Normally, I won't say that. Normally, I'm telling you, you need to find a TV screen, whether it's at your local B-dubs or, over at a friend's house or at home. You need to find a TV and watch the game. That's not the case tonight. If you got something going on, you want to put up Christmas decorations, you want to spend time with the family, you want to do something other than this, by all means, do just that. This game stinks. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to advocate for this game. I can't do it because the Raiders aren't a good football team. They're not the worst in the league. That distinction goes to the Arizona Cardinals, but they're not far behind. They're not a good football team. They're not going to win this game. But the one thing that they do have in their favor in this game is the fact that it's family business. And that, by itself, gives them a shot in this game. Albeit a small one, gives them a shot. They know the Denver Broncos. Now, they don't know this version of the Denver Broncos as well as past versions. They don't know the Denver Broncos that's headed by Peyton Manning. This Denver Broncos team spearheaded by Peyton Manning is a whole different animal, whole different beast that the Oakland Raiders have no chance of taming. However, if the Kansas City Chiefs a couple weeks back can limit this Denver Broncos offense to 17 points at Arrowhead and keep it close, keep it at a one-score game essentially, why can't the Oakland Raiders give it a run? Not saying win, not saying keep it close for the duration of this game, but why can't they make it a watchable game for the most part? Why can't they make this a game that doesn't get out of hand until late in the fourth quarter? Why can't this game be one that's actually competitive for 3 quarters? Why not? The Chiefs did it, and they did it for 4 quarters. Why can't the Raiders do it for 3? I don't know. All I know is that the Broncos are going to win this game. I don't expect it to be that close. The Raiders are a team that's in transition. They have an excuse. It's a built-in excuse. This isn't the same Raiders that you've come accustomed to that just stink and they're going to stink next year and the year after that and the year after that. They're building something. It's going to take time. They may stink next year too. This is a process. Much like what the Redskins had to go through when Mike Shanahan took over and Bruce Allen took over as the GM. It's the same thing going on in Oakland right now. It's a new regime, out with the old, in with the new, and so they have a lot of work to do. They got to get rid of all of these players that aren't any good, and there's a lot of them on this roster. This roster is littered with bad players up and down, top to bottom. I mean, Rolando McClain basically quit on the Raiders. He's a first-round pick from just 2-3 years ago. He quit. I don't want to play for the Raiders anymore. That's how bad it is in Oakland right now. You have players quitting. I don't know what to say, but I'll tell you one thing. They're going in the right direction. It may not seem like it on the surface, but this is what you have to go through to get to the level of a lot of these NFL franchises that the Raiders see around them. You have to go through these growing pains. You got to get rid of all the dead weight. Shed yourself of bad contracts. Fiscally get healthy. This team wasn't in a good state money-wise when Al Davis left this team. A lot of bad contracts. They overpaid for a lot of Raiders. So they have to find a way to get these books evened out, get some money under the cap so that they can go out and be aggressive in free agency. It'll be a while before they're able to do that. They have to start building through the draft, which is something that Al Davis really didn't care to do. They traded away draft picks as if they were donations to other teams around the league. That's something that has to cease, and that's something that will cease under this new regime. So the Raiders are going in the right direction. They're going to start trying to build through the draft. They're going to try to start making fiscally better decisions as a franchise. They're going to start getting players in this organization that aren't just athletes. We know the Raiders' height, speed, weight team. They were height, weight, and speed specimens that the Raiders targeted. That's what they did. That's what Al Davis liked. He liked the 6'4" receiver that could run a 4.4, 4.3 40. You know, that weighed 215 pounds. That was a freak. Now, could he play? We didn't know. All Al Davis knew is that his measurables were off the charts. And so he'd select him. That's not the case in Oakland anymore. We want guys that can play football, that are smart, that get it, and can play the game too. Not just a 6'4" guy that can run a 4.4 40, but he can't read coverages. He doesn't know how to run the right routes. He doesn't understand the terminology, but he's just an athletic freak. They want the guy that's a football player. And they're going to start trying to build and go in that direction. I said all of that to say this. It's a long process, a long road that these Raiders are heading down. It's going to be a while before they actually reap the benefits of what they're doing. But it's good to know that you're heading in the right direction. It's tough. I got a buddy of mine, one of my best friends, Oakland Raider fan. Right now, he's in dire straits. He's at the point right now where he's questioning his fandom. You can never get to that point. You can't allow yourself to get to that point. That should never be an issue. You can't start questioning whether you're a fan of this team or not, whether you want to keep watching this game or not. It should never get to that point. But it's that bad for him in Oakland right now. He knew it was going to be that bad. It still doesn't brace you for, watching your team be annihilated week after week after week and not stand a chance. And really have a roster full of players that either don't belong in the NFL or belong on someone's practice squad right now. That's what the Raiders roster is made up of. A lot of guys who shouldn't be dressing up and playing on Sundays. But that's what it's amount to right now. And that's what happens when your roster has a lot of turnover like this Raiders roster did when this new regime came in. So a lot of mismatch pieces, a lot of things they're looking to do but just don't have the personnel to do it right now. And so it's a process. I've been there, done that. I'm a Redskins fan. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen what you have to go through. I've been through my fair share of 5-11s and 6-10s to get where we are right now. And sometimes you got to take a couple steps back to take those huge leaps forward. Sometimes you got to do it. I sat through the years where Keelan Williams was my starting running back. John Beck was my starting quarterback. Rex Grossman was my starting quarterback. I sat through those years. Jabbar Gaffney's my leading receiver on my team. I've got, tackles and guards going through my offensive lineup like turnstiles. I've sat through that. I know what it's like. I know what the Raiders are going through. However, it doesn't change the fact that they're going to get destroyed tonight. I said all that to say this game shouldn't be close tonight. I expect the Broncos to do what it is they feel like doing, whether it's pass, run, whatever. The Raiders don't stop you from doing anything. They don't stop the run. They don't stop the pass. The Raiders aren't a good defensive team at all whatsoever. The Raiders really don't pose a threat to you offensively either. Carson Palmer isn't that bad, but he's willing to throw 2 or 3 interceptions if you'll let him. And so he'll turn it over. They have a hard time getting in the end zone. It's Carson Palmer. You'll look at his stats at the end of the game, and he'll have over 300 yards passing, and he'll have a couple of touchdowns, and you'll be like, does it seem like this game should be 42-20 but a lot of those stats came in garbage time. When this game was well out of hand and Carson Palmer just started racking up passing yards because the other team is really disinterested at this point. The game, they just want it to be over. So look for the Raiders to try and make this thing competitive. This is a rivalry game. It's family business. I expect the Raiders to give it all they have because, again, it's the Raiders and Broncos. These are supposed to be two of the most hated teams within this division in terms of against each other. They don't like each other. This rivalry goes way back. It was really heated when Mike Shanahan was in Denver and Al Davis was still the owner and alive of the Raiders. You know the rift that those two had. And so it was intense then. I don't know how bad it is now. Peyton Manning knows nothing of this rivalry. So it's still fresh to him. I don't even know if he considers it a rivalry. I'm pretty sure he knows it's a rivalry. But again, so many different parts. There's no one around this rivalry right now to carry the torch and say, hey, I was here when this rivalry was really good. Everyone's new. A lot of changing parts, a lot of different pieces. So I just expect the Denver Broncos to win this one and win it easily. 34-17 is the final score that I have. I think the Broncos will get it done. They've already clinched the AFC West. They're the champs out there. They'll go to 10-3 on the season. Meanwhile, the Oakland Raiders probably won't win another game this season. They're 3-9 right now, and this loss will take them to 3-10, and I expect them to finish the season up at 3-13 because they're not a good football team. And if you can't beat the Cleveland Browns at home, who can you beat? You do have one more matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe that's your one beacon of hope. But, hey, if you're the Raiders, why not get as high a draft pick as you can? I don't know if you own a first-round pick because normally you don't because you give them away. But if you do, why not? Why not get as high a pick as you can? You probably don't need a quarterback. I guarantee you there is someone out there that does. So if you finish bad enough and that pick that you have becomes the new St. Louis Rams pick of last year, maybe you can get from under that pick and hold someone at King's ransom and stockpile some picks and start building that franchise the way you want to the right way. 34-17, Broncos get it done over the Raiders, go to 10-3. Meanwhile, Raiders drop to 3-13 on the season. In the spirit of Peyton Manning being on Thursday Night Football, go ahead and throw the touchdown up real quick. Want to tack on this quick extra point. I want to talk about who you have for the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. I've already talked about this one time at the midpoint of the season, and it's a 2-horse race, and really you could argue that these two are in consideration and maybe even front runners for the MVP race as well. I mean, we're talking about Adrian Peterson and Peyton Manning. Now, which side are you on? Because for the Comeback Player of the Year, it's a toss-up. I mean, Peyton Manning is having one of his best seasons of his career. Crazy to say that, but yeah, statistically, you look at his numbers, and he's really tearing it up in Denver. You look at Adrian Peterson, the same can be said for him. I probably would have to go with Adrian Peterson. I still am just flustered by what he was able to do. I still can't wrap my brain around the fact that everyone else is taking 6 to 8 months to come back from ACL surgery, and he only took 5. Everyone else is taking a full year after they have the surgery and they're still playing to get back into the flow, and then you'll expect them to be the guy that they were before the surgery the next year. He didn't need that year grace period. He's better than he was before he tore the knee up. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not fathoming how that's possible. I mean, you've got guys like Leslie Frazier, his head coach, coming out and saying, hey, he's better than before the surgery. This isn't Tommy John surgery. I'm trying to explain that to people. This isn't Tommy John surgery. This isn't baseball. You didn't hurt your shoulder, get reconstructive surgery, and come back throwing the baseball harder and stronger than ever. This isn't Tommy John surgery. This isn't the norm. You don't tear your knee up, have it repaired, and have it come back stronger than ever. That's not normally what happens. Normally, you're like Thomas Davis, the linebacker from the Carolina Panthers, you have ACL surgery, and it makes that knee susceptible to tearing again and again and again. Because you've torn it already, there's a lot of scar tissue there that doesn't get to heal properly sometimes, and you tear it again. That's not the case with Adrian Peterson. He's stronger. He's faster. He's the same guy, but better. And he was already the best back in the National Football League before he tore his ACL. So what does that make him after he tears it and he's better? It makes him the best back in the league again. Amazing. I can't vote for anyone other than him. If I had a vote, I couldn't vote for anyone other than Adrian Peterson. Who would you vote for? Adrian Peterson or Peyton Manning? And look, what Peyton Manning is doing is remarkable. Don't sell him short. Just because it's Peyton Manning and this is what you've come to expect from him, don't forget that he missed the whole season of football as well. Okay? Don't forget that he had questions about his neck and questions about whether he would ever be able to play football again. People were questioning the arm strength, questioning would he be able to take a hit. And now he's come back and he's playing lights out football. He's got this Denver Broncos team right now looking like a strong candidate to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. He's playing that well right now. He's got this Denver Broncos team, franchise, and fan base believing they got a winner this year. I don't know. It's a tough decision. Everyone's on the fence about it, but I strongly believe that Adrian Peterson is the right choice because what he's doing, what he's been able to do, and the injury that he had, we've seen it. There's a precedence here. There's no precedence for what Peyton Manning has. You know, we don't know what it's like to have that injury, but we haven't been able to say, yeah, this guy, and that guy all had that surgery, and this is what they did afterwards. There's nothing to look at to compare it to. We've seen guys get ACL injuries and never be the same again. We've seen that time and time and time again. We've seen guys have the injury and take a year to come back. We've seen guys get the injury, come back too soon, tear it again. None of these things have happened to Adrian Peterson, yet the contrary has happened. He's come back sooner. He's come back stronger. He's come back better. And we can compare him to other backs and say, yeah, these guys did this, but Adrian Peterson did this. And he's better than all of these guys. Amazing. Simply amazing. And that's why I would have to say that the nod has to go to Adrian Peterson. That's the episode. I thank you for joining me in the lab room on this Thursday afternoon. Again, there's Thursday Night Football. Watch at your own risk. I'll watch because, again, I don't have a choice. It's what I do. And I'm a sucker for football. I can't turn down football that's on TV. I can't do it. As long as it's NFL product, of course. Can't turn it down. I'm a sucker for NFL football. That's just what I am. So I'll be watching, unfortunately. But I'll be back. We'll talk about it tomorrow, about what happened in the game, and we'll move into the slate of games coming up on Sundays. A lot of big matchups. And again, we're coming down home stretch. Every game is important now if your team's in a playoff race. You know, there's no time for a let up. There's no gimme games. There's no excuses this time of year. Either your team is ready to get it done or they're ready to pack up their things and go on a break. So it's big boy football now. And so I can't wait. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the Friday edition of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. Many ways to view the show, as you already know. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's dropping something in the inbox. Many ways to communicate. I'm on Facebook. Every show I've ever done is on Facebook. Check the page out. In the Lab Room is the page. Like it. I'm on Twitter. At In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Follow me on Twitter. YouTube is the most efficient and effective way to view the show. Drop a comment at the bottom of a video if you have anything to say. It'll come directly to the inbox. I'll get it. I'll respond at my earliest convenience. And drop something in the inbox directly. In the lab room at gmail.com is the inbox. Drop something in it. I'll see it. I'll respond. And again, I have fun interacting with you guys. We're all fans. It's all love. I thank you for the support. Have a good one. Enjoy the football if you watch it tonight. I know I'll be watching. I don't know if I'll enjoy or not, but I'll be watching. Have a good one. Hope to see you back here same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good one.